Welcome! Today we are going to be doing even more with percents. So this is percents part 3. Okay, if you've watched every part, way to go. You are awesome. So I want to show you that this is me wheeling in that percent for you. Another day of percents, which is actually really good because you need as much as you can on knowing what the heck to do with a percent. Because if you know that as a consumer, as a person who buys stuff out in the world, you'll be better off. You'll know what's happening. So I'm going to work through 2 or 3 problems, okay? And the first one, all of them are going to be finding percent of a number. So let's start with example 1. 24% of 80 would be what? Okay, now from 6th grade, you would have been taught to work through this more mild type problem by performing an operation. Of represents a certain type of operation. That operation is times. 24% means 24 hundredths. And 80 means 80. So really all we're doing is multiplying 24 over 100 times 80. And in 6th grade, you would have taken 24 over 100 and made that into a decimal. 24 hundredths is 0.24 times 80. And now I just have to do 0.24 times 80. And 0.24 times 80, I will let you make use of a calculator here. The calculator, I'm going to do 0.24 times 80. And I get 19.2. So I'm going to go back. 0.24 times 80 is 19.2. So 24% of 80 is 19.2. Okay? Now this example 1, this is the way you did it in 6th grade. I'm going to show another method because we're going to get to tougher problems and you're going to need this other method. So we're going to find 24% of 80 a different way. Okay? So get ready. Draw yourself a number line like we were in class. Okay, so when we draw our number line, what I'm talking about is we have what's known as a double number line. We're going to have numbers on the top and numbers on the bottom. Since we're working with percent, I'm going to make one of the sides be about percent. So I'm going to range from 0% to 100% and also go halfway at 50%. I am set up to start this problem. So now I'm going to put 24% in there. And where's 24% going to go? I'm going to approximate this. It's in between 0 and 50. Halfway would be 25, so I go a little less than half. And I'm at 24%. So I'm approximating where that is on the number line. Now I'm going to fill in underneath it. We don't know what 24% of 80 is, although we did just find it. But I'm going to pretend I don't, and I'm going to say, I don't know what it is. I don't know what 24% is worth. We do know our total number is 80. So 80 is not a percent. It's going to go on this bottom line. And 80 is our total, so it goes with the 100%. And now, based on my picture, I could come up with a guess here, an educated, reasonable guess. Because I could say, all right, well, halfway, could I fill in this mark here? Yes, if I know the whole thing is 80. I know half would be 40. 50% would be worth 40. And now 24%, that looks like it's in the middle of 0 and 50. So if I go in the middle, just a tiny bit lower, maybe my guess would not be 20. I'd go a little lower than that and maybe guess 19. Okay, and seriously, I already forgot in my head what the answer was that we just figured it out as. But I'm guessing at 19. Now to actually figure out the answer, a different method than how we just did it so that we can do tougher problems is to set up a proportion. So I'm going to set up a proportion, and in the proportion are going to go numbers that are in my picture. So I'm going to say like 24% goes with X, just as 100% goes with 80. Or if I don't like to set it up that way, I could do 24% goes with 100. Let me do a different color. 24% goes with 100, just as X goes with 80. Now I actually like that second one better because my X is on the numerator. So I'm going to do it that way. 24 relates to 100, just as X relates to 80. Some of you might be noticing, could I have used the 50 and the 40? Yes, you could have. You could have done that, but I just went straight to the 100 and the 80. All right, now our proportion. I'm going to rewrite this and try and solve it. So 24 over 100 equals X over 80. So to solve this thing, do I see relationships happening? Anything? Multiplying, dividing by a whole number? No, unfortunately not. So I'm going to have to get rid of division by 80 by using algebra. So to do that, on both sides, I'm going to rewrite both sides, leave some space. To get rid of that division by 80, I'm going to multiply it by 80. And this is where I am letting you have that calculator come into play. I have over here, I'm going to keep going by hand though still, 80 as a fraction is 80 over 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply 24 over 80. Calculator or by hand might be quicker. So 24 times 80 is 1920, 1,900. So I'm going to put that's 1,920 over, and then 100 times 1. I could do that in my head without a calculator. It is 100. And then how would I figure this out? I'm going to have to do 1,920 divided by 100. So back to my calculator, 1,920 divided by 100. And I'm at, oh my gosh, 19.2. So my X value, what I'm trying to find, that 24% of 80 is 19.2. Oh my gosh, my guess was 19. We're exactly right. Okay, I'm going to do one more problem. Example 2, and 2 different ways of figuring it out. So 83% of 90. The first way in 6th grade, what would you have done? 83% is 83 hundredths of, it's multiply. 90 is 90. So you could just go like that. But with me, Miss Eberly, you're going to use your number sense powers. You're going to use and make use of a number line, double number line. And you're going to set up a proportion to figure this thing out, because I'm going to give you some tougher problems next week. So 0 to 100%, 50% in the middle, and now we're ready. 83% is, where is that? That is about maybe there. Guesstimating. I don't know what that's worth, so I'm going to put X. And then 90 is my total. There I have it. Now I'm going to set up a proportion to figure this thing out. Before I do that, could I come up with a reasonable guesstimate? Well, half, 50%. What's half of 90? 45. So I know my answer should be between 45 and 90. 83% is closer to 100 than it is to 50. So I want to pick something that's closer to 90 than it is to 45. So maybe like, I don't know, 80. I'm going to go with 80. My guess. Okay. Maybe 76, but I'll stick there. All right, I need a proportion. 83 goes with 100. Just as X goes with 90. X goes with 90. All right, there's no relationships happening. We have to resort to algebra. What are we going to do? Multiply by 90. Both sides. So I'm going to have to do 83 over 100 times 90 over 1. Multiply, multiply. I can tell my denominator is that by hand. 83 times 90, calculator. 83 times 90, boom. 7,470. And what's the final calculation I'm going to have to do? This number divided by 100. That number divided by 100. And we're at 74.7. 74.7. Was I close with 80? Pretty close. Wasn't bad. Okay. All right, we're going to practice more in class next week. You have the test on Friday. See you then.